Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Yay, Coach Jay, I can hear you loud and clear. At the buzzers, how we doing? Let us know. How you doing, Coach Jay?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Had a pretty good trading day. A little bit of a rebound from yesterday. We talked about yesterday. Took some losses. Had a good trading day. Did a personal lockout. We can talk about that a little bit. Maybe wanting to force action in a market that wasn't really presenting any action. So it turned out to be a pretty good day overall. How was your day, Coach?
Good day.
When did you end up getting out of the Russell?
About an hour ago.
Nice trade.
As we were trading earlier, buy the Dow and Russell and sell the Nasdaq. I did. Why? That's the way it came out and unfolded. I wouldn't have guessed that, but good day.
Turned out to be a pretty good day. Welcome, everybody, to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader. Speaking of which, what is that chart behind you?
That is the crude oil chart. I don't know. I heard somebody whose opinion I trust say that 2026 may be the year of crude oil, and that was a pretty big move in crude. This is a 1-minute chart, but we saw, of course, what's going on in Venezuela, and a bunch of oil companies right now vying to be the ones that process the Venezuelan oil that we're getting. So there's a bunch of meetings and headlines and things like that coming out. I don't know exactly what the headline was. I was, kind of looking to see exactly what came out around 2:30. Well, that's settlement for crude normally, but really
Yeah.
big move there in crude oil. One of our biggest percentage movers on the day.
Well, we'll go deeper into that. We can't just ignore crude anymore.
No, we can't. We really can't. But let us know how you did in the chat. You're all our audience. Are you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you learned from the day? Did you follow your plan? How did that work out? Box Cutter in the chat says, been missing at the buzzer since my work schedule changed. Glad to catch this one after a nice win. Literally at the buzzer in gold. Nice job. Love to hear that. Courtney said, caught myself trying to micromanage a trade. I closed the oven door and let it cook, plus 13 points in the S&P. Nice job. Courtney, I was trying to micromanage today. Right. If you're looking, you're not cooking, right? That's the new tagline.
That is the tagline.
Good job.
Who was
Courtney,
that, Billy?
Who said that yesterday? Was it Billy?
Thank
Cooking?
you.
You're not cooking. Big day for me. Six out of 6 on automated trading for Bink. Took a lot of work to get everything working correctly. Nice job.
Nice.
And for Black Boy Perfect says, did he say 4 decades? That's a lot of knowledge. That is a hell of a lot of knowledge. That's more trading knowledge than I have life experience. So when Coach Paul talks, there's a lot of times where I just sit back and listen, because that is a lot of knowledge for sure. But let's get into the quote board. We got 36 different markets that we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we had copper down 0.95%, silver down 1.21%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside, down 3.49%. To the upside, we had heating oil up 4.41%, crude oil up 4.61%, and RBOB gasoline futures, our biggest percentage mover, to the upside, up 5.24%. The energy markets, Coach Paul, they're going to be hard to ignore with all this stuff going on.
Well, they were being ignored at the end of 2025. We'll see. But quite a move there in the crude. But should we start with the metals or the equities today?
Let's see. Let's talk about our big 4 really quick. We got crude oil up 4.61%, the S&P up 0.02%, gold up 0.52%, and the Nasdaq down 0.59%. Let's get the equities out of the way. Actually, you know what? We shouldn't even say that, because I think it's time to go to a 4 up again.
I agree.
I think we go to a 4 up. and we look at the 4 major equity markets that we have. We've been talking about the Nasdaq and the S&P. I saw a comment in the chat. Who was that? Brad. Nasdaq is so tame lately. What is going on? The market may be waiting for something, or we're seeing a little bit of rotation into some different assets. So I'm going to put the Nasdaq on the top left. We're going to go S&P on the top right. We're going to go with the Russell on the bottom left, and we're going to go with the Dow on the bottom right. And we looked at the dailies for these yesterday, so we don't have to do that again. But what I really want to look at is the time most of us are trading during the day, and that is that New York session open. Set off, that's going to bother me. All right, but which of these charts, let's go to 3-minute charts on all of these. Based on your trading strategy, range, the last one you want, okay. Go to 3-minute charts on all of these. Are these not 3-minute charts? Come on now, work with me. Which one is the cleanest? There's the Russell on the bottom left again, the Nasdaq on the top left, the S&P on the top right, the Dow on the bottom right. 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I have my answer.
Yep.
Charles, YM.
YM, definitely a good case for it, right? YM. Bob is saying
YM.
3, and we talked about this. We talked about this, right? The market that presents a pullback might be the cleaner one because it gives you an area to get in, right? We get a pullback to VWAP here. Been trading the Dow opening breakout. It's been a clean trade. And I'll tell you which ones I took today. I took the Nasdaq short early. Hogan and I talked a lot during the opening call about what the Nasdaq had the potential to do under 25,800. When we got this little spike on the open, I got short within that. I was short before that 3-minute candle closed in the Nasdaq, just because it looked like it had the DNA. Do I suggest doing that all the time? I don't, but execution today was, hey, there's opportunity early. I'm going to take it. But look at the S&P. We frame out the opening range for all of these. These are 3-minute opening ranges. Volume never left that range the entire day. Well, towards the end it did.
Well,
so go ahead, Coach.
And also, to me, clean was 1, 3, and 4.
Yep.
The S&P, it looks like a rudderless ship on the ocean.
Right.
So let's go through them.
All right. So we have the Nasdaq on the top left. And Coach Paul, I want you to talk a little bit about, and we'll go to a 2 up here. I'm going to put the Nasdaq on the left and the Dow on the right. Talk a little bit about rotation. I think my food just got delivered, so I'm going to be right back. I'll go get that.
Well, rotation, we could see right away we had urgency in NASDAQ on the sell side. At the same time, we had urgency to the upside in the Dow. Rotation from the opening. In what kind of rotation? Well, type of flight to safety. Going into less risky Dow. And don't think of this from a trading point of view, but as an investor point of view. Bigger money's rotating into safer assets. There's an old saying that as a money manager, you will never get fired for buying Dow stocks. And more of a flight to safety, because these were complete opposites.
Right.
Complete. I mean, going 2 ships passing in the night. Like,
yeah.
So, and that rotation, we saw it also with Rusty. So it tells me I don't watch the individual stocks, but there must have been a NASDAQ stock that got hit today.
I think NVIDIA was down at one point, I believe, if I can remember correctly. I think it was NVIDIA.
Now the Dow and and Rusty don't have it.
Right.
Poor S&P was like the middle child.
Yeah. Which way we
was,
going, guys?
was getting dragged around. But we could see clear direction right off the get-go. Actually, it was great spread by flow, not by economics. Or buy the Dow, sell the Nasdaq. Why? Because that's what the institutions were doing.
Right. Yeah.
So
Really nice
yeah,
trade.
we watched that this morning. That was a good trade.
Really nice trade. I think we had the Dow make no, did not make new all-time highs. Made new all-time highs yesterday. Did not make them today. But a market that, and we talked about this one, and unfortunately, we have 36 different markets we could trade with TopStep accounts, and we can't talk about all of them, especially in that hour during the opening call. But every once in a while, I'll throw in, hey, I'm going to keep my eye on this because of what we talk about here all the time, where we get the opportunity to talk about markets when they're slow, right? The Dow has been presenting clean opportunities just when you look back at the charts. Now, the thing is it always going to be that way? It's not. At one point, the rotation is going to go back to the Nasdaq and sell the Dow, or a lack of interest in the Dow, and then money's moving back into tech names. But for right now, and the Nasdaq was a clean trade today. For right now, some of the cleaner trades that I've been seeing on a daily time frame are in. Look at the Dow yesterday, right? This was a clean move yesterday. I've been in the Dow and then the Russell, and that may change. And when it does change, then we have to change as traders. We have to adapt. But if you were an S&P trader today, if you weren't a range trader, if you're not a range trader, I saw somebody say they took a 15-minute J trade in the S&P. Which
Oh, wow.
where? What time was that? Who said that in the chat? Richard Harris says today was extremely difficult. So Richard Harris, I know you trade the S&P and the Nasdaq mostly, right? Hi. Oh, okay. You caught this one up here, Billy. That's nice. Yeah. So the S&P was I mean, we talked about it, Coach Paul, and there's a lot of times where we have all four up, and I just try to go with whichever one is quote unquote the easiest or the clearest. We'll say the cleanest, right? It's never easy to trade, but it's the cleanest to trade. And when you have an approach similar to the approach that we're looking at for the opening range breakout, a trend continuation trade, if you have all four up, then you have your pick, right? It's like going to a restaurant and they only have one thing to eat and you hate that thing. If I'm not a range trader and it's like we only sell, carrot soup. The best thing that we do, and just like if I don't like carrot soup, then I'm not going to eat, right? If I don't like range trades and I'm in the market that's stuck in a range, I don't have much opportunity here, right? But if you have all four, right, and you have something that a menu you could pick from, and it's like, hey, you know what, that one's trending. I'm going to go to the trend, and it's very similar, right? We're not talking about comparing the S&P to the Australian dollar, right? Those are different things, or to gasoline futures, right? Because different news is going to affect it. But the equity markets, if you look at all four, compare the sector and see which one is the cleaner trade, it can present a better opportunity. Because I agree, the S&P, I look at this and I'm like, I'm gonna lose my money if I try to trade this. And very similar to the Nasdaq, I'll tell you guys, I caught a Nasdaq short early, and Coach Paul could tell you, I was looking for this Nasdaq to break down all day, all day. And one of the best things I did today was hit the lockout button. Because I had a decent trade, made some decent money, and was looking to force a trade where it wasn't there anymore. There was still a valid trade in the Russell and the Dow that I could have gotten into, but I found myself trying to force a short in the Nasdaq that just was not going to play out. UOP started to flatten out. So being locked into what you're doing and asking that question, Hogue asks that question all the time, right? Is what I'm doing in my best interest? And trying to force a trade in the Nasdaq was probably in my worst interest today.
Yeah, we were talking. When we had the first hour or the initial balance, which was at the second level of support, it was over. It went into a rotation. Now that was it. It didn't. It went right to the middle because that was look at the volume on the opening. That never was traded out.
Right.
It so it rotated, and man, I understand. It looked there are times that okay, this time for sure.
Yeah, it has to
Only
go.
and this could be part of some. It was tough because there. I look for um, continuation or breakout. It broke out early in the first few minutes. And then a look at it felt, I shouldn't even look, it felt like it was just gonna go be 500, 600 lower.
Yeah.
But the selling stopped at the initial balance and we just curled into a range. Um, as we were talking at that point, there's nothing that I do as an edge. I did sell it against the VWAP twice. Then I stopped.
Yeah, it gave you a couple opportunities to do it, to sell it against this VWAP, right? Once we establish this range. And like Coach Paul is saying, this 30-minute candle this is such a huge 30-minute candle that it's going to take a lot of energy to trade out of this range. And this is where you start to put the puzzle pieces together for the trading day. We got, uh, some of the biggest news out tomorrow, right? So, and heavy NVIDIA news, right? What is the likelihood that we get the energy to push out of this range when there's a catalyst tomorrow that the market's probably going to wait for? So, if you're a range trader, you probably welcome this because you could have bought it and sold it at the 50% of this 30-minute candle for the entire day and did pretty well. But Coach Paul, I know you took that short twice and then said, "Okay, I'm good. That's enough there."
Yeah.
Why do you make that decision?
Well, if we look at the 3-minute and frame that out, we had the urgency. We had the highest volume came on the open. Now, that's not a bunch of speculators in there. That's institutional. So they waited for the open and they sold it, and we broke out early. All right. So that was the heavy part. If we look after the initial balance with the half hour, what do we see? It curled back. The selling stopped.
Yep.
And in the half hour, it just kept going up to VWAP where it got sold again.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't break it. So to me, the algorithm in VWAP was
Done for the day.
done for the day.
Yeah.
And the initial imbalance from the opening was being traded out.
Right.
Against that background, it was Dow making new highs.
Right.
Russell making new highs. So this was a little distinct because back to the half hour, it would just go right up to VWAP and session VWAP, and it couldn't close through.
Right.
So in that, and we were under the 200 at the time too.
Yeah. It's a big decision-making area here. VWAP never crossed. See, here's the thing. VWAP never crossed below. So price advertised lower, and VWAP never did. This is a decision-making area. We know how, at least for us, how important that 200 moving average is. And it looks like it was important for the market today as well, where it got glued there pretty much the entire day. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, though. Tomorrow's going to be a good one.
Tomorrow is another day. And what's out comes out tomorrow?
We got NFP before the market open, and then we have Michigan Sentiment prelim at 9 a.m. Central.
All right.
So should be a good one. Let's take a really quick look at, here you go, the S&P holding that 200 moving average, and then the Dow and the Russell, the Dow traded below it price-wise, volume never really did, and then the Russell probably looking like the strongest out of them all. These are new highs of the year and new, I think, decade highs in the Russell, if we break this high. Or 5 years. I think going back 5 years, these are new highs.
Wow, we went yet higher than yesterday's high.
Oh, yeah.
We broke hard yesterday. And what did NASDAQ do?
Yesterday, the Nasdaq, well, it rallied and then had that news come
It
out, and then it
failed
sold that.
it did,
Right, it
yeah.
failed. Yeah. So
But off the opening, it rallied.
it
Well,
did.
because that's where I had my error yesterday. Did a mini versus a micro,
Yeah.
10 times the risk. Anyway, yeah, it seems to me that spread has been dominating lately.
Uh,
Nasdaq and Dow and Nasdaq and Rusty.
uh, is that a bear flag? JD's asking on the Nasdaq chart here.
Mhm. That's a pennant. Is that a bear? A flag would be flat.
Yeah.
Um,
I could have also
you
just
can't,
not drawn that very well.
yeah. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. Hell, we'll see tomorrow.
We will see. We will see. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting trading day for sure. If you're going to trade in the morning and you also trade the Globex session and things like that, just keep that in mind that tomorrow is probably going to be one of, I would assume, and of course we don't know anything, but one of the better price action days that we do see in the equities. So maybe consider that in your trading. Of course, that is not financial advice. Yeah, trading tonight, I got to consider whether or not I want to as well. All right. Anything else you want to say on the equities, Coach Paul?
That's it. Tomorrow's another day.
Go to gold. Take a look at gold on the daily. What are we seeing here?
We're still trapped inside the mother of all candles in gold. Kind of Richard Harris, you were trading S&Ps in gold.
Yeah.
And it was a tough day. It was a tough market.
In both. Yeah.
It was tough in that it was random. There was no consensus trade. There was no, it meandered.
Yep.
And gold did too. So it's still nothing much changed. We did break to a newer low on the last 3 days, but only to be bought. We're still above the 20-day moving average. Still very friendly looking.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Right below that 4,500 level, closed above that 50% of that candle, but we've been testing both sides of it, right? Take a look at the 30-minute. And the metals were a nice short last night. Shout out to Dakota who got short silver while I was buying it. I was able to recover from those losses. But let's just go to where we know the metals are going to move, right? I'm not even going to look at the Globex Open. We're going to go right to the Shanghai Open. And that is 8 p.m. Eastern time. And from that point, right, that candle sets the high for the day. If you were trading it last night, right, if you're going to trade the metals tonight, and you look at the 6 p.m. Open, sure. But from what we've been seeing is when the metal starts to pick a direction, it's after that Shanghai Open, right? And the Globex Open technically did set that high, but if I'm going to trade when the volume comes in, I'm just going to wait. And another one, we looked at, looks almost the exact same as yesterday.
Yep.
Where even if you, so here's what we're looking at, right? So the Globex Open is here. Asia Session Open is here. You can get the same price. You can get the same price there. And
yeah, we saw that yesterday.
Right. And at least you get the volume confirmation that, okay, we're actually going to go in this direction. So nice trade there. Question for you, Coach Paul. How was trading back then? Was it purely fundamentals, stats of technicals?
Or technicals?
Oh, yeah.
Good question. Back then, when men were men. No. Good question. I think just go through the biggest difference. When I first started, I was just barely 19. All the trading took place on the floor, right? In the pit. There was no night trade. There was one of the best places to be was in the beans or the grains, 9:30 to 1:15 were the hours. Cattle, it was 9 o'clock till 1 o'clock. But it was compressed. All the orders anyone was using futures had to trade at that time. So there was an advantage to be a member. You were close to volume. When I first started, there was people doing. I mean, it's been technical analysis has been around forever.
Forever, right?
Like it's not something new. Um, but it was frowned upon on the floor because you didn't need it. You just got in and traded against the paper.
Yeah,
Pure, what I considered scalping. You buy sevens, sell eights. If you bought sevens, you work to sell eights, or you just get out. And you could do that 50 times a day and you made good money. Technical analysis, I don't know, when I first started charting, was an older trader who looked at me and goes, you know, every boat at the bottom of the sea has a chart in it. Oh wow, I should just quit now?
right.
What he didn't say was there was a million ships who used charts that made it safely to harbor. So it really older traders had no need for it because they were busy making markets. Now you can, especially in gold or crude and commodities, action can happen at any time. So it's much more fragmented.
Right.
Like you had to wait until the pit opened. It was different trading. Then when Globex started, fragmentation began. Technical analysis became more important. Actually, being little technical abilities started to become
Right.
the forefront.
Knowing how to use a computer.
But you know what? The principles are still the same.
There you go. There you go.
The principles don't change. So I found I'll give you this: most traders couldn't make the transition from the floor. It's a different trading style. It's different. There's no implicit edge. You have to learn how to create one. So great question. We'll do more of that. And by the way, yeah, candles came from an old Japanese trader in the rice futures exchange in the early 1700s. Well, I've done a class on that. I'll
Yeah,
do it again.
I think it's in the coach's library somewhere. I think it's still in there. We are seeing the equities kind of pop here. I think the S&P actually just made a new high of the day.
Yes.
Now that's not a high of the day, but they are starting to pop here. Seeing some comments from the president instructing my representatives to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds. Moody's rating analyst, substantial increase in U.S. defense spending as proposed by President Trump for 2027, unlikely to be offset by savings or revenue. Spending increase would raise U.S. debt interest burden over time, further limit fiscal flexibility. So we are seeing some comments after the close. We are seeing the markets move after the close. Of course, we can't trade them in Topstep accounts right now, but President also saying he had a great meeting with the Intel CEO. U.S. government is proud to be a shareholder of Intel. Watch your Intel stock. All right, let's take a quick look at silver. Again, understand the risk in trading this market. It is a very expensive market to trade, whether you're trading the big contract or the micros, but we know there are a bunch of traders trading it right now, so we'll give you our look at it. On a daily, saw a little bit of a pullback today. Again, nice trade in the overnight session. We looked below the 50% of that December 29th candle, but we're still holding it for now, closing above that 50%. So the structure is still intact to the upside. Are there going to be pullbacks in the These markets, 100%. You know, I think even, gold and silver could potentially test the 20-day moving average and still technically be in an uptrend. Now, what does that mean for us as day traders? The flow of the market on a higher time frame is to the upside, but I have to trade the market that's in front of me. And if there isn't enough interest at buying these markets, and we saw it yesterday, not enough interest at buying at all-time highs, then that's when we get these pullbacks. And today was another example of that. What are you seeing here on the daily in silver?
Balance. As you said, we're still technically in a bull market.
Right.
What I would be concerned about is it's getting too much balance. It's lost its surge. That doesn't mean to sell it, but over time, it's really balancing out here. We're still within that candle. We didn't break that high yesterday, so there wasn't buying. Actually, there was selling up against that level.
Right.
Still friendly, but I'm not trading it myself. I think it's just you have to be right there. I'm not a precision trader. But looking at last night's action,
Shanghai set the high.
open. Yep.
And if you were looking at this on a 3-minute chart from the open last night, it might have triggered along. Okay, here's the first 3 minutes of that Shanghai session open. Broke that range to the upside. Volume actually left to the upside as well. But then once it starts to flatten out, this is where, to me, if I'm trading silver right now and I don't trade it too much, if I see profit, it's not coming back to my entry. It's just not going to happen in this market for me personally, just because it's so expensive to do that more often than not, you're seeing quick profits if you are right, and it can turn violently in the other direction and cost a lot to do so. So, initially you had a trade that turns out to be not even a 2-to-1 on the initial breakout. But if you're looking at the Globex session, and a lot of what we suggest is probably to look at a 30-minute chart during Globex just to give the market some more time to digest. That's a failed push to the upside in a market that was downtrending from yesterday.
Been nice, about a 45-degree tilt.
Right. But a pretty expensive market to trade. Another one that's right at that 200 moving average. We will see how the market responds here. Right. Oil.
The heck? It has life. It's alive.
What are you seeing here on the daily, Coach Paul?
For all that excitement and daily, we're still in that range that we've started in the year, but we're basing. You know what I mean? It's going sideways. But the velocity of today's buying was we haven't seen that in a long time, because that happened later in the day. So something came out. I don't know what the news is, but I do know there was buying that was urgent. Still, we need to get over the 200. But look at yesterday's selling volume. We talked about that, and look at the range. It's almost a form of exhaustive selling. That type of volume, which was higher than average, in a tight range. Some traders call that coiling. But it becomes uncoiled and it springs hard. We saw that, but the pattern has been doing what? Rolling back the next day. We're not out of that pattern yet, but today's action was a little bit different. So let's look at the half hour.
This is another one where I feel like we could ignore what happens until London.
I agree. We've done that.
Yeah. Go ahead. We'll look at last night's open.
Look at last night's open. there really wasn't urgency. It broke, but it took what, 4 hours. But yesterday, let's look at, yeah, we had a big break yesterday. Well,
Yep.
now we have the exact opposite, like almost to the tick, high and low. Um, Once again, let's frame out London.
This is box down here.
All right. And then we can see the volume starts picking up. What is that? Why is that difference? That's energy. That's what feeds markets. There's volume. If there's no volume relative, there's no imbalance, the market goes sideways.
Yep.
Something came out of London, and looking at that, and it was urgency. That never, I mean, then let's frame out New York.
We did not take a house count trade today on the opening call. It would have triggered a long that probably would have stopped us out. It turned out to be the right direction, but timing and location matter for day trades, but we did not take that trade.
Yeah, because you have to frame out your risk.
Right.
It's easy going, well, you should have held it. Yeah. There's nothing in that says that couldn't happen what happened yesterday.
Right. And we were right at the 200 moving average on the New York session open.
Oh, that was, yeah.
So
now, once we got over the 200, every half an hour low was higher than the last.
yep.
It was a pretty big range. It was a $2.5. I turned around. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Now there wasn't big news. It wasn't a war. Nice trade directionally, especially out of London. But remember, we're in that range. This is what happens in these ranges. There's still trading opportunities. Let's put a volume profile on that. All right. Now look at, so through Asia, that volume profile was balanced. Point of control was balanced. When we closed above that, point of control, that was in London also, right?
Right. Correct.
So little confirmation. What that buying is real.
Right.
Something to watch. And then and now we'll watch the point of control. What does it do? It keeps ratcheting up. It never ratchets down. And still, wow, it never rotated to the highs. When that happens, that's usually trapped sellers. Why is that? Because they reach up, and I mean a trapped seller of size, not a trapped low.
Right.
2-lot Willie. No, it's some that, so they're trying to purchase oil, and they put on a couple hundred bid, and what happens? People run in front of them. And this is what we hit. This is that design that has that DNA. It's the exact opposite of what happened yesterday.
2 days ago. This was
2 days ago.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All good.
Yeah, yesterday it was a very small range, but if we, well, let's, yeah.
Volume point of control stayed at the highs.
Stayed at the highs.
It's cut
And
up here. Yeah.
in a we frame, is that New York Open? I think it was.
Right up here. Yeah. Yep.
Now That's the complete opposite. Sellers, they were the trapped buyer trying to sell and can't find, every time I put some size on,
Right.
everybody scurries out in front of them. So today was the exact opposite. Really using that volume point of control. When you see that, that's usually the sign that someone's stuck, an entity. But nice move, both sides. Can it continue? Well, recent history says no. We're in a range, but what do we know? We know we don't know. We just find a point, and I use the opening, fragmented information to see how it works from there. You can make better decisions. Looking into this, my guessing is this has got a very good chance of coming halfway back.
Yeah.
But that's just my guess.
Right. Can't trade
Um,
guesses,
there's been,
but you
I
can.
mean,
But
there's still good opportunity here.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I think you need to be patient. Honestly, I think from what we've been seeing, that some of the better trades in crude oil have been happening when that London session starts, and really being patient for it to work out. Right. If you're going to trade crude oil, which you can, which is going range to range right now, I think one of the things you have to account for is how much time it might take to get to the other side of the range. Right? You're not going to trade crude oil and get the same pace as gold. Coach Hoop saying the rollovers in play. Yeah, you're not going to trade crude and get the same pace as gold or the Nasdaq or silver, but it is still moving. You just got to have a decent time horizon for it. Uh, all right. We went through the big four. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. In the morning we have non-farm payroll. Has the potential to get some volatility going in the markets, in all the markets we trade, gold, silver, the equities. Be careful trading out there. I don't know when the last non-farm date was that was actually the real data. We had that government shutdown where made things weird for a little bit, but you guys know how we trade, or how we frame out the news, right? Find a news candle, let the news candle play out, and then go from there, right? You frame out the high and the low, looking at kind of like an opening range trade, and that could set the tone for the day. When we're doing the opening call tomorrow, we're gonna have that non-farm number come out, and maybe we could show that on air. But framing out that news candle and then taking your opportunities from there. If you try to guess where the market is going to go during that news candle, you could get it right. But if you get it wrong, there's potential for slippage and things like that. So I think being a risk manager over a trader, at that point, you say, you know what, I'm not going to put on unnecessary risk when I don't have to. But it may present some really good trade opportunities tomorrow. Any other markets you want to look at, Coach Paul?
What's the one we haven't? Bitcoin. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Natural gas. We've been ignoring natural gas.
There you go.
We'll start finding a base. Boy, it's not being directional.
Not at all.
It's found value down here. Did it fill the gap? Almost. No.
We have this gap from
Almost
October.
is not yes.
Yeah, we got to within 50% of it a couple times, but we haven't filled this gap. Nope.
And it was one of the biggest percentage movers today.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the half hour. Above the 200 too.
Yeah.
So once again, natural gas does not trade much on Asian hours. Really, eventually we talk about crude energies, 2 o'clock Central Time, London. And you can almost just see it from the volume.
Right.
So let's see from London.
Realize I'm talking on mute. There's the London Open. But we say it all the time, right? Time of day is a level. And if you're trading the markets at a time where they're not their most active, you may be trading in some sort of randomness. Can you not can Is there opportunity to make money in randomness? There is. But what we want to try to do is put the odds in our favor as much as possible. And in my opinion, you do that when all of the rest of the volume is coming in to tell you what their opinion is for the market. And then we catch the waves from there, right? Because then I get to forget about what I want. Because the one thing we know about the markets is they're uncertain. And I don't know about anybody else on the call, but I don't control them. So you wait for the big boys to come in and start to move the markets around. And then that's where our opportunity is. So seeing where that volume picks up in natural gas, that's a really nice trade from here.
So let's look at the day before from London Open.
It's not as defined.
Yeah. Nope. But the Globex Open was more defined. Still,
Yeah.
I will take overtime. Asia does not really trade natural gas.
Yeah. And can it? It can, right? It can. But we use this analogy before, Coach Paul. I mean, there are some times where I'm right-handed. Can I shoot the ball with my left hand and it go in? Can. Am I going to rely on that? Probably not.
Then that would better be a left-handed layup.
You're right. Yeah, and even those, it might get a little shaky. I haven't played in a little while. But
Yeah.
no, left-handed layup, I should be all right.
All right. But we saw very defined flows. It's in a downtrend still. I still think the best thing to do is frame out London in the energies.
Yeah, London Open is 3 a.m. Eastern. 3 a.m. Eastern right now. From what I understand.
Yeah, it is.
Right, 3 a.m., 2 a.m. Central.
All right.
All right, I think that's it. I think we did it. I think we did it there. Coach Paul, anything you want to say before we go?
As always, plan your trade your plan, be consistent, remove the marginal trades, don't trade on emotion. And that's it.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for joining, everyone. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you all being here. Hopefully anything that we do is helping you with your trading journey. That is ultimately the goal here. If you are looking for more content, we got Coach Hoop doing a class in Discord in about an hour, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Then Coach Ray at 7, Coach Vince at 8, and of course, Coach Dakota tonight with Slow Markets at 8:30 Eastern. Baron is going to be joining him today. We have no Euro trade. Aaron's out and D does not stream on Fridays. So join us back tomorrow for the opening call, 8:15 Eastern time. We will take a look at how that NFP number affects the markets. Trade well, everybody out there. Manage your risk, and we will see you all soon. What happened, Coach Paul?
It's Friday tomorrow.
It's Friday.
It feels like a Tuesday.
Week just flies by, man.
Still caught in the holiday market days. All right.
Weeks just fly by. Trade well, everybody.
All right.
All right.
Bye.